The busboy who held Robert F. Kennedy after the senator was shot at the Ambassador Hotel in California has been speaking about the senator's final moments in 1968. Juan Romero still struggles with everything that happened 50 years ago. He had hoped to shake hands with RFK but ended up cradling the mortally injured politician's head on the floor of the hotel's kitchen. I remember extending my hand as far as I could, and then I remember him shaking my hand, Romero said on. And as he let go, somebody shot him. In an instant, he had Kennedy in his arms as both of them fell to the floor. Photojournalists managed to capture the horrific moment as Kennedy lay dying while 17-year-old Romero searched for help and tried to make the senator more comfortable. I kneeled down to him and I could see his lips moving, so I put my ear next to his lips and I heard him say, "Is everybody okay?" I said, "Yes, everybody's okay," Romero said. I put my hand between the cold concrete and his head just to make him comfortable. I could feel a steady stream of blood coming through my fingers, he continued. I remember I had a rosary in my shirt pocket and I took it out, thinking that he would need it a lot more than me, he added. I wrapped it around his right hand and then they wheeled him away. After the event, Romero said letters began to flood into the Ambassador Hotel, many of them addressed to the busboy and some of them angry that he hadn't been able to prevent the assassination. One of them went as far as to say that, if he hadn't stopped to shake your hand, the senator would have been alive, so I should be ashamed of myself for being so selfish, he said. Romero said that he can't help but get emotional when he thinks of the late senator, adding he paid his respects to Kennedy in 2010 when he visited his grave at the Arlington National Cemetery. I felt like I needed to ask Kennedy to forgive me for not being able to stop those bullets from harming him, Romero said. Meanwhile, Robert F. Kennedy's daughter, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend has joined her brother Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., in calling for a new investigation into their father's 1968 assassination. After personally reviewing evidence and visiting the convicted killer Sirhan in prison Kennedy Jr. has argued that the wrong man was put behind bars for killing Robert F. Kennedy, who died on June 6, 1958. My father was the chief law enforcement officer in this country, Kennedy Jr. told. I think it would have disturbed him if somebody was put in jail for a crime they didn't commit. Previously silent on the issue, Townsend has now agreed with her brother. The former lieutenant governor of Maryland told in an email on Thursday, I think Bobby makes a compelling case, but at least 2 of the 9 other children of the late presidential candidate, former Attorney General, and Senator from New York, who was known as Bobby Kennedy, disagree with their brother, and now their sister. Both Joseph P. Kennedy II and Kerry Kennedy stand against the idea of reopening an investigation into his death. Joseph P. Kennedy II, the former congressman from Massachusetts, said in a statement, "As we approach the 50th anniversary of my father's passing, I think what is most important is that our country and my family reflect on what my father stood for and fought for, a legacy promoting global peace, social justice, and civil rights." Kerry Kennedy, who is the 7th child of Bobby and Ethel Kennedy and president of the Robert F. Kennedy Center for Justice and Human Rights, which her mother founded, also appears to be against a fresh look at her father's assassination. The reason that people are interested in the circumstances of my father's death is because of what he did with his life, she said. And I think we should focus on his life and not so much on his death, his moral imagination, his capacity for empathy, his quest to heal divisions, and his belief that one person can make a difference, one person who is trying to make a difference, at least in terms of who is held responsible for Bobby Kennedy's death, is Paul Schrade. Schrade, now 93 years old, is a former United Auto Workers official who was with Bobby Kennedy when the candidate was shot on June 5, 1968, and was also wounded, himself. Schrade, Bobby Kennedy and a group of people were walking through the pantry at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles on the way to a news conference when the attack happened. This was at a time when Secret Service security was not provided to presidential candidates. 2 months prior to his death, civil rights leader the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. was killed in Memphis. Environmental lawyer Robert F. Kennedy Jr. told The Washington Post, "I went there because I was curious and disturbed by what I had seen in the evidence.